Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve and today I'm going to do an overview on this Ooma Office Business Class phone system. So here we are at the front of the box. This particular item, the Ooma Office, is essentially a VoIP phone system and for you business customers will essentially allow you to set up a phone system in your home office and make sure that you can interconnect with one another via extensions or get incoming, outgoing calls via this particular system. It does have a cost starting at $19.99 a month. There are also applicable taxes and fees. We'll show you the back here just for some additional details. But more importantly, I'm just going to show you some key features of this particular product before hooking it up and testing it out for myself. First and foremost, it does have HD voice, which is going to give you some crystal clear calls, and you'll be able to have a little higher quality voice because of the VoIP system here. It will give you the ability to get a little higher quality out of your phone conversations. More importantly, though, you'll be able to keep your own number, or you can actually add your own number in almost any area code, apparently, according to this, for free. Also, you'll be able to use existing phones, so you don't have to worry about any special type of digital phone to use this particular system. You'll have these extra remote links that will allow you to hook up a jack straight to it. It also has a plug on the back of it, but I'll show you all that in just a moment. Also, you have the ability to have a virtual receptionist that basically will greet and direct calls anywhere on your network. Also, on top of that, you will be able to add additional extensions up to 10 lines and 5 phone extensions. That's a total of 15 virtual extensions. And also they offer 24/7 support. And I'll actually show you the setup to show you how easy that actually is. Let me go ahead and flip this around to the back to show you a little bit more about what this particular product will offer your business. Some key features: you'll get unlimited calls in the US and Canada for that $19.99 per month. Also, like I mentioned before, expandable to 10 lines and 5 phone extensions. You get the HD voice technology I mentioned, and it works with regular corded and cordless phones because it just needs to have that basic RJ jack in order to work with this particular device. Compatible with most fax machines. You'll be able to keep your current number. It includes a business class voicemail and caller ID and 911 services. Also, you get the virtual receptionist I mentioned. You'll also have on-hold music, so you'll be able to customize it with your own sound files and give people music on hold, give your business that extra touch. Dial by extension, or you can reach them, another user in or out of the office, so you can basically find people on the network. Also, a virtual extension mapped for offsite phone numbers, including cell phones. You'll also be able to transfer a call to another extension in or out of the office, and the voicemail forwarding to email allows you to hear a voicemail without dialing it in, so therefore you'll be able to get this probably sent as some kind of a WAV or MP3 file directly sent to you. More importantly, though, we do have call forwarding and multi-ring to help you stay connected at all times. So let me open up this box and show you a little bit more what comes inside. So here's everything that comes inside of the box. I'll start with the paperwork first. And they do tell you to go to Ooma's website in order to pick up some additional accessories to allow the extensions of more phones to be hooked up on this particular system. Then we do have the quick start guide, which will allow you information on how to install everything and what you essentially need to do in order to set up this particular product, plus a little bit of troubleshooting inside. So, and then moving right along, we do have a Ethernet cable that they do provide, and this is a thin Ethernet cable, so you do have the ability to kind of just fit this underneath doors or around through drawers if you needed to. It's just a little bit nicer to have something like that as opposed to a standard rounded cable. Then we do have 2 of these links boxes that essentially give you connection to the network wirelessly, and what you would do is plug in your standard RJ11 cable here to connect your handset, your phone, to the wireless system. Then it will get connected wirelessly, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment, and you do get 2 of them. So moving right along, we do have an AC adapter, obviously to provide power for the base system. And this is the actual base system itself. Now it's got plastic on it, but that's just because I wanted to show you that it does start with a warning here that activation's required, and you would need that before you do anything else. You just go to myoffice.ooma.com/activate, and don't plug this device in until the activation process has been completed. So here I'm looking at the top of the device, and all you'll see here is the Ooma logo. If I flip it to the front, you'll see Ooma is also listed here, but behind that, although it's not plugged in, there is a blue LED and an amber LED underneath it. Basically, the blue one's going to let you know when the system is operational, up and running. If it's blinking amber, it's just the device booting up. Now, flipped around to the side so I can show you just what it looks like on a profile shot here. It's fairly thin, probably just about an inch thick, but it doesn't have anything in particular on the sides other than that. On the back, we do have the page button, which if you press it once, it will page the other handsets. If you press and hold that particular button down, it's going to register a new device. Next to that, we do have the standard RJ11 port here for your phone service to be connected to it, or just the phone, I should say. And next to that, we do have the internet port, which is essentially going to connect to your router and provide the access to the VoIP system to be able to contact other phone systems outside your local network. Although this says local network, it's actually misleading because you would hook up your computer to this particular port to allow the computer to connect to the base station for additional setup options. Next to that, we do have the AC power plug where you'd be plugging it in to give it power, and a USB port, which essentially allows you to connect additional optional accessories such as the Ooma Bluetooth adapter or an Ooma wireless adapter. So here's a look at the base station and a telephone that I've actually brought in. Essentially, it's a standard telephone, works on the jacks on the back here. I'll flip it to the back of it so you can get a better look at it. The yellow cable here, this is actually going to our internet source, and this is going to the actual computer that's plugged into. The way they have it set up in the diagram and for setup in general at a household, they want this to be before your router. My guess is to keep it from interfering with any of your router's firewall settings or even having to set them up. So essentially it would go cable modem or DSL router, DSL modem, excuse me. From there it would go to this device. And then it would go to your router from there. So, and some people do have cable modems that have routers built into them, so it would still work, because essentially that's what I'm doing right now. It's plugged into our main internet source, which is a router, and then from here out to our computer through this device. And that's just because I want to be able to connect directly to it, because it actually has a set system to connect to for the control center to actually be able to be adminned and whatnot. So bottom line is also we have the power plugged in, and here's the phone cable that I currently have plugged in. So I'll just flip that back to the front here, and I'll show you a close-up of the Office Manager itself. Now, this is a business class VoIP system. What does that mean? Essentially, you're getting the functionality of a high-powered IP-based phone system at your home to utilize for a business. So I've set up just a couple different extensions here and set us up with a phone number. There is a nominal fee for that. I believe it's monthly, and in this particular case, we're set up at $19.99 per month. Hardware costs, I believe right now it's at $249.99, and you can see all that in the link below. I'm sure at some point or another they'll probably have different sales and whatnot. But that aside, here's what you see once you've actually accessed the system, got it registered and activated. So I'm looking at the different extensions here, of which I could add more. And the system itself starts out with 5 phone extensions and 15 virtual extensions. So basically you can expand up to that number. And if I go down here, I can show you the different types of devices that would be connected to it. The Ooma links, which I showed you at the beginning, it looks like this, and it's just the standalone plug that it would connect to a power source, and then you'd plug in your phone cord into this, and it would wirelessly connect to the base station and allow you to have phone service for that particular device. Now, 2 do come inside the box, as I showed you before. And then you have virtual extensions. Now, virtual extensions are essentially extensions that could be connected to phones that aren't physical. So maybe just having a voicemail set up, or possibly having it forwarded to a cell phone, which we actually have set up here. Conference bridges, pretty self-explanatory. It's allowing you to conference call in for other people to call in and set them up as a main bridge so that everybody calls into this particular extension and then logs in. Ring group, that would set up, let's say you want every phone in the office to ring when the phone rings because you have a small business and you don't just need the receptionist to answer the phone. Ring group, well, you could set up specific phones to ring when the primary number is called. Now I'll back out of this, show you a little bit more information here. we'll flop into this. The base station is what I have this number currently set up to. I'm going to have Anna blur out my email address there, but essentially I have my extension set up at 101. I have my email address set up with a password, allows me to get get the voicemails sent via email address to me, and I'll show you a little example of that here in just a moment. Voicemail, you can select how long you want the phone call to ring before it essentially picks up the phone and gives you a voicemail message that you're not available. Looks like it starts or it ends at 180 seconds, total of 30 rings, and the earliest you can wait is 10 seconds before it'll pick up. Voicemail pin, you'd need that when you're going to call this system or the phone number that you essentially activated it with, and dial in your voicemail pin to retrieve your voicemail via the system. Although you really don't have to. If you have an email set up and you have data wherever you're going, you'll basically be able to check that email via that, which I've already checked here to forward it to myself. Also, you could disable or enable voicemail here if you like. Call forwarding, set it up to call forward to another location or another phone number that you know you'll be at. You can also have it simultaneously ring at the local extension here, as well as require a key to be pressed to answer it. Moving along, advanced mode, here's where you could change it over between it being a fax machine you're sending this number, this extension to, or just a standard phone. Also, the outgoing caller ID number that you'd have, depending on how many that you've activated with this device, you could have multiple phone numbers. I'll close out of that and show you a little bit more here. Let's see, I think we'll jump into phone numbers at this point. Here's where you get to add in additional lines and additional phone numbers themselves. Virtual receptionist. Here's where you'll basically be able to set up how this particular device reacts to incoming phone calls. Give it a second here to load in. So right now we have it saying a particular message just to show you how customizable it is. And I'd like to call in real quick just to show you what that is. Also, you can dial by name by pressing 1, pressing 2. It's going to display messages. I'll click on that. So you can do other things like play an announcement or transfer the phone call once they hit that number to a different extension. So that would essentially be, dial 2 if you need to reach Steve, or dial 3 if you want to reach Paul, that type of thing, and then you'd set it up as an extension for that. So let's go ahead and call it in real quick, and I'll use the microphone to pick up the audio from this so you can hear the text-to-speech. You could also set it up with a audio recording.
Thanks for calling Newegg TV. If you know your party's extension, then you're a magical being, because even we don't know what our extensions are. Press 0 to speak to the operator.
So I'm going to dial 101, that's my extension.
Transferring the call.
That's actually Kyle doing a custom ringtone for us. I'll shut off the ring here so you can actually hear how annoying that can get. Eventually that's going to go to voicemail.
Extension 101 is not available. Record your message at the tone. Press any key or stop talking to end the recording.
Okay, this is a test message just to show you guys what it sounds like after you get a recording emailed to you. Go ahead and click end on that. Give me just a moment for that email to come in here, and I'll show you guys, or let you listen to what it would sound like once you played that. Actually, I can even show you. I doctored up a different email here so you can see what it essentially looks like. Gives you the caller's name based on their caller ID, the phone number, which I fudged in there because I don't want to give you my phone number. Also, we have the number that was called, if you had more than one number for the handset, also the time and the date, and below that would actually give you an audio file to play. Now, give me a moment and I'll bring it up and let you listen to what it sounds like. Actually, no, I'm just going to use the one I had before.
I need to be able to pick up in order to put on hold. That's the only problem. Okay, this is a test, see if this actually works.
And that's one that I recorded earlier just because I don't want to wait for the next one to come in. Also, it was a very small file, 16.5 kilobytes, so not very large there. And move right along to the next part of this. So the after hours menu, essentially after Newegg closes, what do you want it to say? Currently it says, thanks for calling Newegg TV, we're currently closed. If you wish to leave a voicemail, dial 8. And you can set up different extensions to do what you'd like it to do based on what I showed you before. Now you can also set up the business hours of schedule. Obviously you need to know that if you're setting up what time after hours would be. And here we have it set from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays also 8 to 5 p.m. So you can see you can set up specific days for specific schedules, or Monday through Sunday if you just want to cover the board for everything. Otherwise, every single day can be individually edited. So I'll show you the holiday schedule here so you can get an idea of what happens. And apparently you can also set up recurring holidays. So if I click that right there, it means every Thursday the 11th, or actually we should probably put July 4th. Every July 4th we're closed. So that would automatically put us on closed for that particular day and follow suit. Also, you can customize directory settings, enable dial by extension or disable it, as well as a remote voicemail checking in case you don't want your employees to be able to check their voicemail from outside the office. Here's where I had hold music and transfer music as opposed to a ringback tone that would be pre-built into the system, as well as silence for transferring. And the local time zone can be set up here. I'll just click this over to the account. And here's where you can actually see set up for our office's address, which, and I'm sure will blur out there, and your security passwords and questions and whatnot, as well as billing information you'd be able to edit here. Certain add-ons, another Ooma links if you have it, or the Ooma wireless adapter, so that you can essentially get wireless connectivity from the back of that particular device and help you out a little bit. Also, number porting, I missed that. I'll go back to that real quick. Number porting, where basically you might have your own phone number that you want to keep for your current business, and you'd be able to verify whether or not you could start you can start the porting process here. It'll let you know whether or not they can do it. But apparently here it says porting process typically takes 3 to 4 weeks after receiving your complete paperwork. So keep that in mind. Also, if you have a prepaid account or not as well. And that pretty much wraps up the demo part of this segment. Okay, everyone, that wraps up this overview of Ooma's Office Business Class phone system. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to click the like button. If you haven't already done so, click subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.